What's up, guys? We're back here with the BSLT price update. 8.5 cents. Let's go and refresh this to see if it changes. But 8.5 cents. So this is the lowest that I've ever seen it before the launch of the game. You know, like when they launched the game, right before the token price was at 3.5 cents. Ever since then, the token price has always been higher and higher and higher. So, what has gone on in this last couple of weeks? Why is the token price continuing to go down? Let's jump into my theories on this and if it's going to keep going down or not. So, as always, these are my thoughts and opinions. I have no insider information or anything like that. I'm just a simply dude on YouTube who thinks they know what they're talking about with the Blue Salt token. And if you want to check out past histories of what we've talked about, you can see that my guesstimations have been pretty correct on the token price. So let's jump into this. I personally am looking forward to 5 cents. I think the token's going to go down to 5 cents. And I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So 5 cents is where I'm going to buy some tokens. Does that mean it's going to be the absolute bottom of the token price? No, the token could go lower than that. And I actually do personally hope that it does go lower because I want to buy cheaper tokens. Let's get into why this token is continuously going down and down and down. So the big thing is the 1 year lockup period. So XL Games employees and partners and deals that they made with Bora Portal, deals they made with their employees, the bonuses, guilds, sponsors that they have going on, all these partnerships and deals and negotiations that they have, some of them got awarded BSLT in a special lockup fund. It was locked up for 1 year, 2 years, etc. Right? We don't know the terms of all these details, but they did give us some information about the employee bonuses, and they said that there is a 1 year lockup period. We did get a report from them as well saying that, hey, we realized that 50 million tokens is kind of like too much, and we're going to knock it down to 30 million tokens, and then we're going to give them, the employees, their 50 million, but we're going to spread it out over 5 years instead of 3 years. So the employees are still getting a total of, I believe it's 150 million tokens, but they were going to get those over 3 years. Now they realize, hey, game development is slower. We're not in the position where we want to drop 50 million tokens right now. So let's spread this out. We'll do it 5 years, and we'll release 30 million tokens as those bonuses. So obviously, if you are one of the employees that had this deal and you're like, oh, I'm going to get 50 million tokens, or 5 million or 2 million, however many tokens you personally were going to get, now your token price is essentially reduced by very close to 50%, going from 50 million down to 30 million. That is a significant decrease in token value. So, but still, 30 million tokens is a lot of tokens. That's where the problem lies. When these 30 million tokens got released to the world, they didn't all sell at once, right? If I get 2 million, if you get 2 million, if the next guy gets 2 million, if our buddy Scott gets 2 million, if John gets 2 million, we all got all these tokens. We're not all just going to go rush to the door and drop them, especially when we know, future content is coming out and we're actually really proud of the content that we're making, right? So the employees probably have some sense of pride and ownership in the game, and they're excited to release, the Ocean content. They're excited to release the future content. They know what's going to happen in 6 months or a year for the game, and they're like, yeah. But of course, they're going to sell some of the token because why not? The token price is at 10 cents or 12 cents or 15 cents, whatever the token price was when they got their tokens. And they're like, well, the token price is going down a little bit. Let's cash out some. Let's get some money. It makes logical sense. We have 2 million of these tokens, and we don't really need 2 million of tokens. Next year, we're going to get another 2 million of these tokens. So let's go ahead and sell some of these. As several of the employees go ahead and sell their tokens, the price keeps going down because millions and millions of tokens is a lot of tokens. There's not that many players in Archeworld, so maybe 100,000, maybe 200,000. You can find out more information on this by using the Bora scope to find out exactly how many wallets own the BSLT token, and you can figure out how many players there are, or token holders, for example, because not everyone that is a token holder is playing the game. It is a little deceiving though, because you can actually deposit all of your tokens into the game and it will not show you up as a token holder in the Boroscope. But anyway, you can get some data there, boroscope.com, if you want to check out the chain and see how many kind of like token holders there are and who holds millions and millions of tokens. Anyway, so there's not, a million players playing this game. We all know that. Maybe 100,000 total players, maybe less than that. We don't know the full numbers. It's never been released to us, but there definitely is not that many players playing the game. So let's just say there's 10,000 players. And now if there's 30 million new tokens that get released, those 10,000 players would have to buy the tokens to keep the price up. And they need to buy a lot of tokens to buy up 30 million tokens, right? When the game launched with a liquidity pool of around 1.5 million tokens. That was all the tokens that we had in the game. And that's why you saw the massive spike from 3.5 cents up to 15 cents really quickly, and then over the course of a month or so up to that like 95 peak. The liquidity pool was just incredibly small, and it was super easy for someone to buy up a lot of tokens and push that price up. They have been slowly but surely increasing the liquidity pool. The last thing that they said was they increased it around 10 times, which means the liquidity pool would be roughly around 15 million tokens. But again, if all these numbers are correct, because obviously I don't know exactly all these numbers, these are all guesstimations from data points that we've pulled over the last year, looking at the Boroscope and the chain and the wallets and so forth. So we don't know 100% certain that these are correct, but we'll just say they are for the argument point. 15 million tokens in the liquidity pool is not a lot of tokens. They just released 30 million tokens. So now if those employees or partners or, friends and families that got bonuses dump 30 million tokens, that means the liquidity pool cannot handle that many tokens, and it balloons to 45 million tokens. And when it balloons like that, the price decreases. That's how it's set up. When the liquidity pool has a lot more tokens, the price goes down. When the liquidity pool has less tokens, the price goes up. So that's the system that they have in place here. So you can see the liquidity pool had 15 million and they released 30 million, and that's just way too many tokens. And it's going to have a huge negative effect on the price for the foreseeable future. I'm actually personally surprised that we did not see a massive drop. We didn't see like a 10 cent down to 5 cents in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Because I thought someone that got, say, 2 million tokens as a bonus would have just dumped all 2 million of their tokens right away, and that 2 million dump into a 15 million liquidity pool would have significantly reduced the price, I thought. But we didn't see any of that. We've seen this slow and steady bleed of tokens. Now, on top of that, we also had the Ocean update that came out that was not what players expected. The Ocean update sorely delivered this content, and it was just very lackluster. Of course, there were people that are still excited and happy about the Ocean update, but the majority of the players saw this as a huge disappointment and were very, very dissatisfied. You can see that by tons of gear, tier 4, tier 5, and even some tier 6 weapons and armors being sold on the auction house for cheap prices. You can also see that by the housing villages in the game losing tenants. The houses are being demoed and spaces are opening up. The world was almost 100% full before. Now the world is probably around like 75 to 70% full. There still are houses and still are, patrons of the villages, but the world is definitely less and less full than what it was. Then there's also the Blue Salt Stars. The Blue Salt Stars got taken away, which was a good thing, and then it got reduced, and then it got changed, and then it got changed again, and then it got changed again, and again, and again. And now we're at the point where Blue Salt Stars are here once again, and you can still get a whole bunch of these things, and you do just have to be 12,500 gear score. So they brought them back, but they require blue Archeum now instead of red Archeum. These are a very, very bad source for the BSLT token price. The more Blue Salt Stars that are here, and for the longer period of time that Blue Salt Stars are here, the more tokens that are introduced into the world, which means the total supply that the players have access to, and aka the liquidity pool, gets larger and larger. Every single day, people are buying these Blue Salt tokens because that's what they want to do. They want to make play to earn. They want to get money out of the game. So they're taking their Archeum, they're converting it, They're sending it off to the blue salt stars, taking the blue salt star and cashing out that 18 BSLT multiple times a day, because you can, we're at 18,700 gear score right now, and we can get approximately 10 blue salt tokens, which means we can cash out 180 BSLT every single day. Not many people are that high in gear score, but there are people that are 14 and 15,000 gear score, and they're cashing out, 100 BSLT roughly every single day, 4 or 5 tokens. And every single day that adds up. If you have 10,000 people that are cashing out 5 tokens every single day, that is 50,000 tokens every single day that is being added to the liquidity pool over and over and over again. And that does have a small pressure on the token price. Nothing as major as the millions and millions of tokens that got unlocked from the compensation and partnerships, but it does have a big pressure, and it does keep putting that negative selling pressure on the game and the token, because more and more people are doing this every single day. You have bots that are coming back to the game. You have people that are like, oh, 12.5 gear score. That's pretty easy to get. I can go buy, 2 pieces of tier 4 armor and 2 tier 4 weapons and, pay 100 BSLT and get 18 BSLT back every single day or so. And you can go up a little bit further at 13,000 gear score. Then you can now unlock the arena, and now you can farm the arena honor tokens, and then you can sell those. You can also now sell 2 blue salt stars every single day, and it doesn't cost very much to get up to 13,000 gear score, especially with tier 4 weapons and armors, like around 40 to 50 BSLT, maybe a little bit higher depending on grade and rarity and so forth. And also, each auction house is different. The Asia auction house is different than the North America auction house. But yeah, they're really cheap. And so if you can gear up your character and, say 200 BSLT, and then now you can get 3 or 4 blue salt stars every single day, you essentially get that armor, the weapons and armor, for free after about 3 or 4 days of converting the Archeum, cashing out the blue salt stars, and rinse repeating. And then you just keep doing this over and over again. The blue salt stars, in my opinion, has always been a terrible band-aid fix for the game. The game needs to have a free market economy, which the game does not have. They are trying to manipulate the price up or down, and in this case, they're using the blue salt stars to try to manipulate the prices up. This is not healthy for the economy, and it cannot be sustained in the long term. They need to have game activities that are fun and engaging, and people want to do, that burn items, that burn Archeum. And then the rewards for those activities need to be cool and unique things that other players who are not strong enough want to purchase from those players, right? It's a little difficult to make this system perfect, but they have something similar already with the Kraken. The Kraken has actually been spawned on North America or Asia server 2. So our very first Kraken has been spawned. And this is a crazy thing, because people will say Asia 2 server is the free farm server. No one's playing on Asia 2. What's going on? Well, the thing is, there may not be that many players on Asia 2 compared to Asia 1. There may be very little PvP on Asia 2, but there are still people that are happily enjoying the game on Asia 2, and they're playing the content. And they're actually playing more content than you are right now, which is crazy to think, right? So if a small group of, say, 10 to 20 people got together and they built clippers, which we heard there was about 4 clippers that were involved in this. And so they built 4 clippers, so you had to have a driver, and you have to have 1 person at least on the cannon. So you got 8 people minimum to do this. And they went around and started destroying the ghost ships. There's no one to contest them, right? Because, who plays on Asia 2? Well, they were able to kill the ghost ships, get the rewards from the ghost ship, turn those things in, and then spawn the Kraken. And those 8 players are now being incredibly efficient, if it is an 8-man squad, right? 4 clippers and 1 cannon person. They're being incredibly efficient, and they're gaining tons of value, because killing the ghost ships are going to get you some items, some rewards. Turning those things in, especially as a small crew like that, the money value is going to be more significant than if you took a 50-man raid. There were some complaints that people were like, well, we took a 50-man raid to kill a ghost ship, and the ghost ship only dropped 5 packs. It's like, well, what do you do there? You got 5 rewards for 50 people. That doesn't work out very well. And it's like, The game is designed for small-scale PvP. The game is not designed for 100-man raids attacking other 100-man raids. And if you do have a 100-man raid trying to zerg content, the rewards are going to be really, really small. So Asia 2, in my opinion, is actually a fully functioning game that is working as intended. A smaller, efficient group of players is able to dominate content because there's no one putting up a fight. It's very simple, too. If someone just jumps into Asian 2 and starts attacking these players, they're going to lose some resources, and you're going to have PvP appearing. But the thing is, people are scared and not attacking other players in Asia 2 or not playing on that server, but Asia 2 has actually got more content because these players are smarter and more efficient than other players. They're doing it the correct way, right? A small, efficient, lean guild like this is going to make more money, is going to have more fun, and it's also going to breed PvP once other players realize, hey, we can't let these 8 or 10 or 20 people farm this server endlessly for free, right? Like, we should go stop them. And other people appear, and now other people start to fight and contest over this monster and this boss and this loot. Unfortunately, the Kraken was able to kill them, and they were not able to defeat this Kraken with 4 clippers, I heard. But that's understandable, as you're probably going to want some warships, which are going to require more and more players. The Kraken loot will most likely be incredibly valuable. People were talking about the soul stones, which Kraken drops, and those are going to be used for Luna gems. And it's also used for tier 7 weapons and armors, but most people are not going to be going for that. There's only about 1 person in the entire game, maybe 2 on the Asia server, that can actually access tier 7 weapons and armor. So it's really going to be about those Luna gems, and those Luna gems are super hyped, and they're probably going to sell for thousands upon thousands of BSLT, and it's also scarcity, right? So they're really cool, they're really powerful, but they're also super scarce and super hard to get. So just like the very first amount of blue Archeum that got sold on the auction house, it sold for around 800 BSLT for 5,000 bundle. That was a crazy price because it was scarce. It was one of the first or the first that got sold, and people gobbled that stuff up like crazy. The same thing is going to happen. The first Kraken, Soulstone, Soul items that get dropped, that release, and who knows what else drops from the Kraken, these things are going to be incredibly expensive. They may put them up for auction for, say, 500 or 1,000 BSLT, and someone gobbles them up, and then the next one that gets killed gets put up for 15,000 BSLT. And the price might rise. The price might actually go from being like 500 to 1,000 to like 15,000 because people realize, like, oh man, these things are really good and we want these things. And it's really hard to get, right? The cost of fighting the Kraken is also very, very important. We've had people complain, oh man, the blue Archeum to repair your boats is too expensive. It's not worth it. Well, of course it's not worth it if you are a bad driver, if you get hit by opponents, if you get destroyed or attacked by, enemy ghost ships. You have to dodge. Dodging is a very important skill. And also, items are hyperinflated right now. There's not many blueprints out there to make these blue salts. The blueprint price went up from about 2 to 3 BSLT per, and you need 10 of these to make 50 blue salt along with some other materials. So right now the price of blue salt is hyperinflated because there's not enough supply of these things. And as more Luminas go on searches and get these items, the prices will come down. But as of now, the prices are inflated to all these things because it's only been a couple of weeks for these items to come into the economy. So, of course, if you're running with a 50-man squad, you don't know how to drive your boat, or you're not very efficient at this stuff, you're not going to make a lot of money, BSLT-wise, via the drops. Your boat might actually be a negative, which is a good thing for the economy. You want to have a lot of mistakes. You want to have a lot of problems, essentially, in the game that people have to think and solve. The whole game is one big, problem, right? You're trying to figure out and solve the best way, most efficient way to play the game and to make the earnings. And what we've seen, it looks like the Clippers are the way to kill the ghost ships. But the Clippers don't seem to stand a chance against the Kraken. Of course, you may need to upgrade them, and once you upgrade them, this might actually give them a speed boost, which will allow you to dodge the Kraken and get the hits in and damage. But it's all one giant puzzle that the players must figure out how to farm efficiently and play the game. Otherwise, you could simply play the game and just throw a bunch of money into it and burn money, which is totally fine. And anyone that is playing the game should want that because that is a healthy economy. If there are more sinks of the items and the resources in the game than there are for like rewards, that means these items and resources are going to go up in value. And people that are stupidly destroying their boats or using their boats inappropriately, they're going to be paying money. And if they want to continue, they got to pay that money, pay those resources, or pay that time. Because essentially time is money, right? You can farm anything in the game for free by simply playing the game, putting in the hours, and farming these items. So everything is available to the players in the game, and it doesn't really cost any money, but you get that real world economy because everything's tied to blue salt tokens, which can be bought and sold for real life currency, USD. And there we have the whole system all in place. So overall, I think we are in a very healthy economy. I do think that the blue salt token will go down. I am looking forward to that 5 cents, and I do think that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. We may see lower than that. I'm hoping personally that we get lower so I can buy more of the tokens. I just enjoy playing the game. Whether it's farming on my house, killing monsters and such, I enjoy playing the game, and I enjoy hanging out with friends in the game. So that is all good and dandy for me. No matter what, I'll be playing this game for several years. I've talked about this multiple times, and it really does not matter to me whether the price is up or down on the token. The token is not my primary concern. My primary concern is playing the game, having fun in game, and enjoying the time spent in the world of Archeworld. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys later. If you've got any questions or comments, as always, post them down in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.